Yep, yeah, had to change the monitor in which it was recording when I was doing some stuff for the course. It makes me record. I have to record on the right screen for the live room. I prefer to keep it in the middle. But good day, good day. How are you guys doing? Not bad. Eh. Tired. Got under 6 hours of sleep. Yeah, I had that dilemma this morning. I was up at 4. I typically wake up. I used to wake up 5 and pushing it back to 5:30 whenever I'm in kind of like whenever I'm doing like workouts and stuff like that. Try to get a little bit more sleep so the body recovers. And I was contemplating at 4 o'clock, right, whether I should just wake up and get an hour and a half of work done or go back to sleep. And I was trying to weigh the pros and cons. Where it's like, I can be so productive at 4 o'clock, but I'm gonna burn out and feel like crap by the time the live room starts, and especially afterwards. Or I can get an hour and a half more sleep or an hour more sleep and feel a little bit refreshed. And usually it's a no-brainer. I just wake up and get the day going. But today I actually decided to stay, and I am happy for it. I am happy for it. And it turns out the thing that I wanted to do wasn't even the thing that I was going to do this morning to kind of catch up on. I can't even do it yet because I needed something to happen and it didn't happen. So I would have been upset that the reason I woke up was for no reason at all. But it was so I made the right decision today, and gave myself a little bit of sleep in my otherwise busy schedule. George says 4. Back to getting up at 3:30. Yeah, I can't do that. Man, I can't do 3:30. Whew. Couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine. Unless I was going to sleep. Well, even if I was going to sleep really early, I feel like I wake up the same time no matter what time I go to sleep. That's the problem. Yeah, it's like even if I wake up, I'm so conditioned. I wake up 5:25. Anywhere between 5 and 5:25 every morning, no matter what time I go to sleep. I used to hate that in college because sometimes we might go out, we might get home, might be like 2 o'clock. Guess who's up at 5? This guy. So I am just conditioned, unfortunately. Last says 3:30 is the occasional bedtime for me. I noticed that. Yeah, Latch is like I've noticed Latch on the chat late at night when it's supposed to be just me and the Australians and I'm like, what time is it, Latch? But yeah, we make the sacrifice, I suppose. I actually another sacrifice. I had a really good interview yesterday with a performance coach from the Philippines, and I didn't even think about the time difference. And we got done the interview. She's like, "Yeah, I got to go to bed now." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's noon." She's like, "No, it's midnight." She said happy. She was like happy Tuesday or something like that, whatever day it was, happy Wednesday. They're a day behind. I'm like, man, you're dedicated. If you're doing it, you're dedicated. Yeah, hats off to you, and always remember that you're assuming you're being positive with that time. That's the main thing. You're doing something that other people aren't willing to do, and that should give you a sense of pride. Right? The fact that you're going out and you're getting up and you're being productive while there's no such thing as competition, but your opponent is sleeping and you're gaining the upper hand. So always put a positive spin on it like that. You're just better at life than everyone else. There we go. So today, somewhat important day today. I'm gonna put it actually on Wednesday. We have ADP non-farm employment change coming out at 8:15. That is the precursor to Friday's non-farm payroll report. But Friday's non-farm payroll report isn't the highlight of this week. The highlight of this week comes at 2 p.m. with the FOMC statement, the federal fund rate, and the FOMC press conference to follow. There's going to be an interest rate cut today. We never know anything for sure, but I would say there's a 99.9% chance that there's going to be an interest rate cut for the dollar today. And what do you think the market is going to be paying attention to? This is important for you guys that may be new to the fundamentals. Ale says, I've calculated in a year span by waking up 3 hours earlier, I gained 1.5 months of time. Did you calculate how much time that takes off your life, though? Ooh, by not getting it, if you don't get enough sleep. I'm sure there's some type of balance in there, right? Ooh. You got to measure the repair rate of your body and blah, 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 right? You never know. But what the market's going to be paying attention to is the FOMC press conference later. I think it's pretty well determined that we're going to cut rates. The question is this going to be the start of a rate cutting cycle? Or is this going to be kind of a one-off thing? And not only are we looking at this from a dollar perspective, right? Because what happens is many of you guys or many traders will look at the charts and they'll be like, okay, well, dollar news is coming out, but I'm trading the euro pound, so it doesn't affect me. Do you think it affects other pairs, guys? When news comes out, does it only affect the singular pair? No, it does not. It affects the others as well. Why? There is a trickle-down effect. Not only there are correlations between different economies, right? You'll see that a lot with like China and Australia and stuff like that. But guess what? When people, let me ask you guys this question: when people take money out the market, do they typically take it out the market and put it in their mattress? No. Where do you put it? You invest it someplace else, right? You're like, oh crap, dollar's in trouble. Let's take it out of dollars and put it into yen, something like that. So there's always that trickle down effect. So, and you'll notice that, the dollar is typically the safe haven pair. Next in line is going to be the yen. So when you see like the dollar fear and scare come on, you see the yen start to move, right? It took me the longest time to figure out. I'm like, why? Why is that happening? But it's just, it's that type of correlation. So there's going to be a trickle-down effect, not only because of that, but because of other countries looking to kind of use this as an example, as an excuse to change their future monetary policy as well. Okay, well, the big bad US dollar did it, so now we can start doing this. And you'll see commodities as well, gold as well. Gold is interesting. Gold, there's a believed correlation between gold and the dollar, but that correlation has actually changed over time. And I wish I read a report a couple months ago where a guy was predicting he was predicting that we would actually see gold and the dollar move together, meaning gold strength and dollar strength, and gold weakness and dollar weakness at the same time, just kind of based on how the correlation has changed over time. So I don't know too much. In my experience of gold, there should be a direct correlation, but it's not always the same. And just in my, I don't have a lot of experience in gold, but it's just my experience of looking at the markets. It has changed, so it's not a say all be all. But one of the things I was looking at last night, remember we had the conversation yesterday. I told you about the podcast I listened to from Jason Stapleton, right? Wealth, Power, and Influence. It was episode, I think, like 986, where he talked about the financial collapse and how everyone's in trouble. And we had a conversation here about having the right mindset in the markets. And as far as like, if we were to see, a financial collapse, you have two choices on how you should look at it. You should look at it at, either from a fearful perspective where the world is burning, it's over, run, hide, sell everything, or you should look at it as a chance to find opportunities. And I was looking at some markets last night and just kind of the trends of how long these bear markets last, right? And really reflecting on my own career. And these things typically last about a year or two, right? Typically about a year or two. So if you're looking for the window of like bargain prices. Again, I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm not saying the interest rate cut today is going to cause it. Not at all. No. But just in general, when we get this massive pullback in the markets, which we're overdue for, as you can see, you have about a year or two window to take advantage. And that could be a lot of time for some, a little time for others, right? If it's a lot of time if you're prepared, if you're starting to think about it right now and you're thinking, oh, let me start considering what stocks I should be interested in or what indexes I should be interested in, and you kind of have a game plan for how you want to approach it. It could be a little bit of time if you don't notice that we're in a bear market until we're at the end of a bear market. But the mindset should be, this is a chance for me to take advantage, right? I know everyone was questioning, I think about a year or two, or maybe last year, it might have been a year or two. I remember Warren Buffett had reported that his earnings from his stock portfolio were down. And everyone was like, oh, the great Warren Buffett, he lost it. Well, he didn't lose it. Do you know what he was doing? He wasn't all of a sudden making bad decisions. No, he was starting to move more towards cash. He was starting to kind of build a little war chest of cash because he had a sense that, hey, you see these dips in front of you? One of these bad boys is going to come. And when it comes, again, we're going to be looking at bargain prices. And bargain prices are only good if you have the money to involve yourself in the market. I was lucky, right? I'll for you guys that are seeing the chart right now, I started my investment career right around about here, right? Early 2007. So I came in at the very end, right, of a bull market, right? I came in at the very end of a bull market, and again, stocks are a little bit different. Investing is a little bit different in the forex market. The stock market's a lot more trendy, and honestly, if you're making smart decisions, I don't want to say it like it's this simple, but if you're making smart decisions, if you're in a bull market, you can basically buy anything and it will go up. And I don't mean anything. Obviously, you can't buy junk, but anything of value, and it will typically go up if the market is going up as well. So I got involved and I made smart decisions. I wasn't dumb. I don't think I was very skilled, but my common sense way worked. And I made money right away because we were going up. Now, I had no rhyme or reason for trading or investing. I had no plan on when to buy, on when to exit. I kind of just would buy it after I did my research and it felt like it was cheap enough, and I would sell it when I felt like I made enough money, or when I needed capital, when I found something else. That was typically my method. Horrible, right? I'd look at my bank account and be like, you know what, that looks good today. Let's cash out. Or I'd be like, ooh, I like this stock, but I don't have any money. All right, well, let's sell this one so I can buy that one. So I was very short term as an investor, relatively speaking, and I made a good chunk of money in the beginning. And then as I continued to and it's all backed up by quality. I had quality stocks. Again, I wasn't buying junk. I did lose money on penny stocks like years later as I was trying to follow a get rich quick scheme and make a quick buck. But in general, I had stocks that I researched. I felt very optimistic about them, and I valued them. So the same stocks that I bought here and made money off of, right? As we started to crash, right, after about my first year, right, 2008, what do you think I did during this dip? You put your hand up on my hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. What do you guys think I did? I bought all of the same stuff for cheaper. I got every single stock, not every single one, but most of the stocks that I bought previously that I valued and I still valued. The only reason I got rid of them is because, again, I was impatient. I didn't have a lot of money and no real plan for my investments. I just bought them again at a better price. I bought them again at a better price. So if I had bought 20 shares of Apple initially, and sold it, made some money, I went back and bought 40 shares because not only did I make money from my initial 20, but now Apple was cheaper and I just bought more of it. And you can see what happened after that, right? We rallied up. Now, opportunities like this, they don't come too often, right? I mean, look at the markets. How often do we see those dips? And it's even less and less recently, right? So if you're someone that is, if you're someone that is serious about getting your feet in the water with some longer term investments, not talking trading here, just some longer term investments, something that you can buy and hold, this is the time where you want to start doing your research. Again, I don't know when this dip's going to happen. I thought it would have happened years ago, but eventually it will come. There will be some type of correction. Maybe not as deep as the previous ones, but there will be some type of correction. And you're going to get cheap stocks. And your mindset is going to be one of two. It's going to be either you are fearful and you're scared to catch the falling knife because doomsday is coming and the financial markets are going to crash and never return. Or you're looking at it from an optimistic view where you're like, man, this is going to be cheap. And that mindset's so important, right? Glass half full, glass half empty. And also, I wish I had money for it. That's the point, right? This is where you start preparing. If you're able to. Now, we're all in different situations, but if you're able to, right? Because again, is this crash going to happen tomorrow? Are we going to get a full correction like this tomorrow? I know it seems small in your charts. This is a 2-year span, right? So the same thing we've talked about in some of my previous podcasts where it's like, hey, just start saving $1 a day. Start saving, start dedicating if you can a little bit of your paycheck to a savings fund, right? And maybe in a year or two time, right, while you're doing your research, you're saving, $100 a month if you can. And everyone's number is different, right? $100 a month, I'll give you $1,200 a year, right? 2-year span, I'll give you $2,400. You can get in the game for $2,400 in a big way. A big relative, but you're not buying like one share of something. Unless it's like Amazon or Google. But yeah, so it's just, but prepare. That's what I'm saying. Right now, prepare. Because if you prepare now, when it happens, you'll be ready. You'll have that war chest where you can take advantage of it. But if you prepare right at the low of this dip, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. By the time you do, prices are going to be back to normal again. So always prepare. One thing I did was I invested a long time ago. I invested in hard asset gold. I don't really have any plans for holding on to it for a long time. Well, I was going to give some gold and silver to my kid. But that's something that can be turned back into cash right away if the opportunity, let's say in the stock market, is available. And just like we talked about earlier about shifting your money from the dollar to the yen, I have no problem shifting my money from gold as it rises, as something else falls, and then when the recovery starts, cashing out the gold and getting back some more exposure in the market. And playing that back and forth. But more importantly, again, it's the mindset. Got to have a glass half full mindset. When others run in fear and look to make excuses, we should be looking for opportunities. Right? Same thing in my random sports analogies, right? I remember when I used to get hurt, and some other players would get hurt, they would just make excuses. Oh, I'm hurt. I can't be good. I'm going to get cut, blah, blah, blah. I got hurt. I looked at it as an opportunity. I said, you know what? Well, I'm hurt. Well, let's invest some more time in learning the plays. Let's start hovering behind the offensive coordinator and start picking his mind on what I should be doing here. So although I couldn't physically improve, mentally I could improve. And that gave me a step up when it was my time to finally get healthy and get back in the game. But it's that preparation period. And that preparation period starts with having the right mindset. If you have the right mindset and you do the small things, you'll be prepared. You'll be prepared. Avery says, beside buying at the dip, any strategy to short? Yeah, just get short. if thing if if things are falling off a cliff, you can certainly short it. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm taking the investment approach, not the trading approach. But yeah, you can definitely short it. A little bit frowned upon in the stock market for shorting, but you can definitely short it. Yeah, that's the cool thing about the financial market. Someone asked that the other day after Jason shared his podcast, and we both responded. Look, if the cool thing about being a trader and a skilled trader is you can make money during good periods, you can make money during bad periods. You can make money up and down. Yeah, yeah. People that hate shorting because they're on the other end of it. They're losing money. That's why. That's why. You could. I personally like individual stocks. That's just because that's where my comfort zone is at. It's I think it's more of a kind of a control thing as well. But you certainly could. But yeah, people like I think people, you know, it's like the casino. People, there's a thing in craps that you can play where typically in craps if someone rolls a seven, everyone loses. You can essentially play the opposite of that, where you can play I forgot what it's called. I think it's might be called the pass line. But basically, if the casino wins, you win with the casino. You can align yourself with the casino, and it's weird because everyone else is losing their money and you won, and then people frown upon you. And it's like, well, you had the same opportunity as I did. Everyone has the same opportunity to make a choice, right? Do we not? If we're all in the same situation, right? We're all dealing with the same thing. The only difference is the choices you make. So if you're frowning on someone that shorted, guess what? You could have shorted the market too. No one stopped you. You just decided not to. Too bad. Same thing during a rally. If it's rallying and someone that is shorting the market is getting destroyed and the people that are holding on for the trend are making bank, well, guess what? Everyone had the same options. Everyone has the same options. Elle says I have to save every drop, coach. Believe me, but I can't. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying doing one or the other. I'm just talking because I know some of you guys are investors as well. So we don't talk about it as much. Um, but it was something that was on my mind this morning, or last night, I should say, um, as I was just kind of looking at the overall market. 2008, great time to introduce myself to trading. All right, so let's get started today. Fed Day, so be cautious. We do have a Canadian GDP at 8:30 as well. That's another one. But Fed Day, be cautious. Let's start with the euro dollar. We'll go ahead and get it out the way. Actually, let's start with euro Aussie. That's one that's actually on the radar. So we did see some positive news from the Australian dollar yesterday. We did see some positive news from the Australian dollar yesterday. And if you guys remember, the Euro Aussie was one of the main pairs on my radar because we were running into structure. All right? We were running into previous structure highs. We ran right up to the highs, and what do you guys notice? What happened? What did the bulls run into? What did the buyers run into? They ran into a brick wall. Boom. Right? Brick wall. As we go down to the 240, this will be a little bit more clear. But you can see we rallied all the way up. Did we break and close above here on the 240? We didn't on the daily. I should actually go check that on the daily. I think we actually might have on the daily. Our highs here. 162.31. Or our close, excuse me, I'm looking for, not our highs. 162.30. 162.31. All right, so we just closed below here on the daily. But on the 4-hour, we did have a break and close above. So this may affect how you look at this. Now, I've told you guys about false breakouts and what I consider to be false breakouts. This is a prime example. Actually, I take that back. Hold on. Because I think this is the candle. Yep. 131. Hold on. Nope, actually, yeah. So this is going to be a false breakout for me. This green candle at the top, this is the one that actually breaks and closes. This one, the one next to it, comes to the same level, unless you're taking into the tenth of a pip into account. And we saw an immediate engulfment of that. Now, that immediate engulfment was based off news, but nonetheless, it is an immediate engulfment. So I would not look at this as a higher high, higher close. This will be a hold for me because of that false breakout. Now, this was the area in which we're looking at. We're talking about getting short. Price action has gotten short. Probably rallied a little bit too far for anyone looking to use a lower low, lower close entry on this time frame. But there may be a secondary opportunity to get involved. And what would that secondary opportunity be? Yep, a double top. So if price action were to return and retest our highs and hold once again, we would have a double top. Most likely that would be paired with RSI divergence. And that would give you a pretty decent either structure trading opportunity or CTS trading opportunity. So that's what I would wait for here on the higher time frames. Wait for a return to retest previous structure highs and a chance to get involved in a double top. Now, where did my other chart go? There it goes. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go down to the 60. The 60-minute chart here. 60-minute, we're going to get the same story. That lower low, lower close is basically at the same area, so it still would have been a tough one to do on a lower time frame. But once again, you can look for that double top. We're not going to see much going down to the 15, just kind of the market junky junk happening. So definitely a swing trading opportunity here on the Euro Aussie. Perhaps a small bat pattern on the 5-minute. If you are interested, that's going to be at the decompletion would be at 161.89. Looks like about 10 pips to potential target ones. Any question on Euro Aussie? Nope. Let's go to Euro Dollar next then. And again, I think it goes without saying, I would stay away from dollar pairs today. I don't think they're going to do much intraday. But of course, it's a very, very busy news day, so I would keep my distance. But I don't think that's going to be a problem because there aren't that many opportunities available anyway on it. You can see Euro Dollar on the daily. Fun stuff, right? Isn't this a lovely chart? Everyone loves this chart. It's amazing. Let's go down to the 240 where our junk gets a little bit clearer. Oh, man. Tasty, right? Let's head over to the 60. Now, we are going to have a potential cipher on a lower time frame. I believe it's the 60 that we can look at. But, again, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But on the 60, we do have a potential cipher here. X to A. Swing low to swing high. A to B. B to C up here. And then a CD completion down there. So potential bull. Excuse me. Scrunch this up. Potential bull cipher here on the Euro Dollar 60-minute chart. Looking at a decompletion at 111.23. 111.23. However, I would advise not messing with the Euro Dollar today. I cannot put more emphasis on that. Because there are going to be many traders. I know it. Today is an email day. Today is an email DM type of day where I'm going to get a lot of emails from traders that are trying to make a quick buck during the news. And, you know, for some of them, it's going to go their way, and that's going to hurt them long term. For others, it's going to go against them, and hopefully it helps them short term, or hopefully it helps them long term, I should say. Maybe that short term pain will help them long term, but it's one of those days. It's one of those days. Yeah, it's even worse if it goes their way, because now you have this false sense of confidence. I hate doing that. We don't get it as much here in the live room, because I think we've really come across a higher caliber of trader. But we used to get people that would come into the live room, and they come in, they're fresh, they're new, and they're talking all this ridiculous stuff, like out of hand. And I'm trying to explain to them, yeah, you know, I wouldn't do that because of that. And, you know, you probably don't want to do that because of that. And, you know, I know what I'm doing to kill. I've been doing this for years and blah, 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 right? All that fun stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, blah, 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 you know, it could. And then what happens, right? The market goes in their favor. And like, you see, man, I told you, man, I'm doing this for years, got all this experience. You know, why'd you doubt me? And they're all excited about the market going in their way for that one time. And it just reinforces their bad habit. It's like, yes, I can do dumb stuff and I will be rewarded, right? I know we have friends like that, right? Where your friend does something dumb and they get rewarded for it. And then that just increases your friend's confidence in doing more dumb stuff. And people do that in the market too. And it's like, people don't understand how, you know, this is a marathon. This is a marathon. This is a long, we're playing the long game. So it's like no one cares about any one action, any one trade, right? One profitable trade doesn't really do anything for you in the big picture. It's consistently taking, right? Consistently taking good trades that will put you where you want to be, right? Ale sent me this picture this morning, very similar, about consistency. I don't have it in front of me, but it was kind of two columns, and one column was like, you know, reader A reads like 20 minutes a day, 7 days a week. And then reader B reads 50 minutes a day, like twice a week. And it was like, well, which person reads more? "20 minutes a day for 7 days a week, or 50 minutes a day 2 times a week?" Or what was it, 40 minutes? I forgot what it was. Anyway, the 20-minute a day person reads more. Consistent action. And I butchered the infographic, but you guys get the point. Yeah, the person that takes the daily action, they're the one that succeeds. Where the person that reads 50 minutes a day, they're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm feeling good. I read my 50 minutes a day, making gains. But then they only do it twice, so all those gains go away. But the consistent gains are the ones that stay. And you can look at it for any aspect in your life, right? Eating healthy, right? I hate people that are like, oh, I'm gonna fast for a day and I'm gonna be healthy. No, you're not. You're just gonna indulge in all the bad stuff that you missed the next day. Like, what does fasting for a day do? I hate that, man. No offense if you people do it, but it's like, be consistent. People, I'm gonna a day, you know, and a cleanse is different. I understand that, but like, I'm gonna fast for a day and I'm gonna eat like crap for the next 6 days. Right? You're killing your body, right? The person that sees gains health-wise is the person that gets on a consistent diet, right? And that consistent diet doesn't mean like ditching sweets and all that stuff, but you're consistently taking small actions each and every day, right? Deliberate small actions each and every day, right? You can do the same thing with lifting weights, right? The person that goes into the gym 1 day a week and just, you know, lifts something heavy and burns themselves out. Do they see any gains? No, not at all, right? In fact, just the opposite. But the person that has a consistent routine of working out, they're doing legs today, arms today, back that day, right? They're going to see the gains because they're taking the deliberate, consistent actions. A good example is the first marathon I ran, right? How many of you guys know how long a marathon is? Yep, 26.2 miles. Don't forget that point two. Whew, that point two is the worst at the end. My gosh. My first marathon, right? My goal was I was supposed to run 9-minute pace. And that was going to meet my goal of like getting 4 hours or whatever I wanted to get. My first marathon, I was all hyped up. I'm at the line and they got the Rocky music playing. We're on this bridge, right? The state capitol. And I got my music on. I'm pumped up and I'm ultra competitive. I'm looking left and right. I'm like, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you, old lady. Right? And I go out for like the first 3-4 miles in like 7:30 pace. Right? So about a minute and a half per mile faster than what I'm supposed to be running. And for you guys that aren't runners, that is a big difference. Trust me, 15 seconds faster per mile is a big difference. I went out a minute 30, right? And I was the man for those first 4 miles. I wasn't the man for the next 22. That same lady I was looking at, talking crap to in my mind, she was passing me. Old lady. I'm not even playing old lady. She said, good job, honey. Keep it up. I swear to God, it messes with me to this day. But the point is, yeah, I was really good for 4 miles. But in the big picture, did I achieve anything? No. You're gonna see the same thing with people that take these bad actions. It's gonna be a good short-term gain. But long term, they're gonna lose unless they change. They're gonna lose. I didn't trash talk her to her face. I just in my mind, I wouldn't trash talk an old lady. But no, last year when I first did my park run, I got beat by a guy pushing a buggy. I've been there too, man. You're not the only one. I saw this guy pushing. He had a kid pushing a stroller, and he was beasting it downhill. And I'm just like, yeah, this guy got all the momentum going downhill. He ain't nothing. I'm gonna catch him on this uphill, right? Man, this guy, I never saw him for the rest of the race. This guy was out, just pushing the baby, and to this day, I think it was a fake baby. I think he just did that. He couldn't have been that good. But yeah, this man's pushing the baby, just quick as hell, just baby in the stroller. Ridiculous. Tony says the guy who runs half marathons carrying a washing machine. Wow, I think I'm going to say about the guy that juggles doing the marathons. There's a juggler that juggles the entire marathon. Yeah, my next marathon, I'm going to do it with those, what are they called, Heelys? Those are the shoes with the skates in them. You guys, I don't know if you had them over there. Heelys. That was a thing for a couple years here in the U.S. I'm going to get some Heelys, just start skating. Yeah, why? Yeah, why is he carrying a? Like, what's the purpose of that, Tony? Like, at some point, it's macho, and at some point, it's like, why? Why do you have a charity? Look, what? I can raise money for charity without you. Why does he need to carry a washing machine? You guys ever try like moving a washing machine? Isn't fun. How are you carrying a washing machine just to begin with? How do you get your arms around it? Like with a hand cart? Is he actually... You guys are crazy. Strapped to his back. All right, well, gosh. Sheesh. I guess you gotta, you got... I always talk about like I go into every competition with the mindset that I'm never gonna lose. I would walk up to him like, you know what? You got it, bro. You got it, man. Like I don't even want to. I'm not even interested in trying that challenge. I think his name is Tony. I see. Yeah, all right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get me like a fake wash machine. Like a cardboard something that looks realistic but it's very, very light. I'll beat his record. Guarantee it. And I'll have a computer and placing trades at the same time. What? All right, let's go to our next pair. Let's go to we're gonna skip past pound dollar. Let's go to euro yen. Start executing trades during a marathon. I'd probably go pretty bad. Oh yeah, let's go to Aussie Canada. I'm sorry, Aussie Canada. Aussie Canada. USD CAD. We're looking at that level yesterday. Change my notes around. AUD CAD. Now I want to work out. I might just take a wash machine in my workout today. All right, so Aussie Canada. Yesterday, again, we saw the lower low, lower close. Where were we at? Bigger picture here. Let me just load up my trading view real quick so I can take a look at the weekly. I don't recall how low we can go on here. But we had the lower low, lower close, and now we're retracing back into structure on Aussie Canada. So quality trading opportunity. And I believe there's room, if I remember correctly, to the downside. If I remember. Yeah, look at that, yeah. Next real danger area, if you want to be even a little bit cautious, about 88.50s. This one had a lot of room. There's probably some intermediate levels we can look at, actually, if you want to be very, very safe. Very, very safe. I'd go about right here. 89.50s. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of room to go lower. Yeah, short and hold. Yep. I just forgot where that level of structure was. But yeah, this is when you go short and hold. Yep. It's gonna be interesting today too, because we have Canadian GDP coming out as well. And I'll tell you what. Well, okay, no. Well, I guess it's the next day. Okay, I'm saying we saw Aussie strength yesterday, based on some inflation news, and which I was surprised we got this. But I remember that Aussie news came out technically on this candle. So this is a news-based candle as well. So there's a good chance that this can just be a kind of a short-term reaction. A short-term reaction to some good news, and the market may go back to being like, we don't really like the Aussie. Which, if you're looking at the fundamental side of it, you probably want to be sour the Aussie. You probably want to be bearish on the Aussie, just with everything that's going on. So yeah, this is going to be a very good trading opportunity. You can see that we're pulling back into our structure. We're pulling back into our level of structure right now. Technically, that zone is going to be right up here. But we're right at the previous zone of structure support, which now act as resistance. You should be thinking about getting short. You should be thinking about getting short, right? Let's drop one more time frame down to the 60. And of course, we'll go to our day trading time frames as well. In the 60, you can see our same zone here. We'll measure it again. We're looking at right there. Yeah, look for shorts. I mean, your first opportunity, if you're looking at a double bottom, or excuse me, double top right here, is you don't got it, higher high, higher close. Again, the market right now is waiting for news. So I don't know which way we're going to break out, but typically when you see this type of pattern, I would expect a bullish breakout. Again, this is, we don't know what news is going to give us, but in general, news aside, this would be a bullish breakout type of pattern. I would look for that next thrust upward. See if we can make a little bit of move up here. Again, the problem is if we get a big reaction off the Canadian GDP news, and I haven't done any research on it, so I don't know what's expected. I'll tell you this. I would actually root for a negative news release from Canada, right? And the reason I say that is because if we rally up, does that give us opportunities to sell? Yes. If we rally down, does that give us opportunities to sell? No. So what I'll be hoping for is slightly negative news from Canada. We see a continued push up into this level. You get your reversal in this level. And that sets you up with a pretty decent trading opportunity where you can get involved with very, very low risk and involve yourself in a downward move. Now, if that doesn't happen, what you can wait for, again, is just the kind of a reset of the whole situation. So here's our new recent structure low. You wait for the breakout, and then you just breakout, pull back, breakout, pull back, breakout, pull back. Or obviously, if you're a breakout trader, trade the breakout. But definitely, shorts all over the board, both long-term and short-term here on Aussie Canada. Andrew Curry says bat. Could be too early to tell. Right now, we're just putting in a B leg, so I don't like to get too ahead of myself. But yeah, we could potentially rally down here and then rally back up, and that would give you a bat. Yes. Chacho says hello. Hi. Potential bearish cipher New Zealand dollar. Yep. 1 hour X leg starting at 66.41. I know exactly what you're talking about. Great eye. Great eye. We'll go to New Zealand dollar next. Great eye. It also says looks like a bit of slow momentum after that big bullish momentum. Yeah. And again, the big bullish momentum was news based. That was Aussie news that came out last night during some low liquidity times in the market. And now the market's in wait and hold mode because of two things: because of GDP coming out for Canada in about 10 minutes, and because of the U.S. rate cut later today. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm personally hoping for a rally upwards, and that's for personal selfish reasons to be able to get involved. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, definitely one that should be on your radar. Going down to a lower time frame to 15. Something else you can look for here, if you're more aggressive and you want to get in, we talked about a move lower. You can look for kind of a mini rotation here. So price action to take out these lows. What lows? These lows, right? And then from an intraday perspective, again, either if you're a breakout trader, which I don't think any of you are. Any of you breakout traders where you trade the breakout right away? Because if not, I'll stop presenting it that way. I don't think anyone here does that, but I don't know. Okay, so latch trades breaks of double tops. Or okay. I'm interested in only simple patterns. Well, breakout's not a pattern. Breakout's just a way of entering a trade. So what I mean by breakout is like, typically I prefer to look for the pullback. So I would need a break in structure and then a pullback. A breakout would just mean like you're putting a sell stop order right here. And as soon as it breaks through this level, you're involved. So I typically default to saying pullback just because that's how I personally trade. But I try to phrase things, because someone can trade differently and that's fine. And I just want them to be aware of the opportunity as well. But that's something you could do for as well intraday, right? Wait for the break of this level or a violation of this level. Wait for the pullback. And then look to get involved in that move down. And this could even, it could look like this. Shoot, it can end up looking like a head and shoulders. We don't know how it will form, but the key is this level violated, that level violated. So that's another option. And that may be something you want to track on the range bar charts as well. I don't think we're going to get a very nice looking picture here on the range bars yet. Maybe if you go to a higher range bar chart, it'll look a little better. But something you can certainly track here on the rangies. On the rangies, yeah, here's the range bar. Let's go to 80. ADR, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, yeah. So that's Aussie Canada. Any questions? Quality pair. It says double top on range bar. Yeah, this is double top. Yep. Top 1, top 2. 1, 2, 3. Anybody remember those Tootsie Pop commercials? How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? Ask Mr. Owl. Not the Cisco song. Is that Cisco and DMX? Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Owl's savage. I knew what he was up to the entire time. I used to yell at the TV, "Don't give it to him. He's tricking you. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to him." He's sitting there scheming, just like, look at this sucker. Look at this sucker. I'm gonna tell him I got the answer. Yeah, never. Yeah, I've never trusted owls since, man. You should see the look I give an owl every time I see one. I look with shame. On behalf of your people. But have you guys ever made it? Anybody eat a Tootsie Pop? You ever made it without biting it? I thought not. Impossible. All right, let's go to New Zealand dollar next. NZD USD. We're about 51 minutes in. Let's go to New Zealand dollar. Let's get updated on our cipher. Oh, now we're going the opposite direction of our cipher. That's not a good thing. All right, New Zealand dollar. You see our notes still on the chart from yesterday, coming down into our zone of previous structure support. As a trader on the daily time frame, this is where you should be looking for buying opportunities only, shorting opportunities no. Let's go down to the 240. 240 chart really doesn't give us much information. We're just a slow bleed down into that level. However, when we go to the 60, before we recently started reversing, if you guys remember, we had a nice cipher setting up. Unfortunately, someone mentioned it in the chat, and now it has been jinxed. I won't say any names, but if you scroll back, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Don't ask for forgiveness now. But you got a potential cipher here. This could turn into, let's see how deep this is. Could be a deep Gartley or a butterfly. Hits the 786, so it could be a butterfly pattern as well for you guys that trade it. But yeah, cipher's still valid. We're moving in a little bit of the opposite direction. We just had a ADP number come out for the dollar as well. That came out at 8.15, so could be a little bit of that behind the markets. But yeah, still a valid cipher. Still keep it on your radar. Again, just today with dollar pairs, just be very, very, very cautious. Avery's the same X could be the same bat. I would disagree with that. I don't think it can be. No. The same X leg as the cipher? Yeah. So I would say no. And I typically try not to disagree with people's X legs, but for me, this is, I don't think you can look at this as an X to A. I think this is too blatant of a retracement right here to ignore. Now, always trade what you see. Yeah, if your eyes naturally see it and you consistently see patterns like this, then by all means go for it. But this is one where I would have a. This is one where it's going to be a blatant no for me. I just think that retracement it's a too blatant of a retracement. I mean, it's a deep retracement. It's about a 50% retracement. It comes back to previous structure. I just don't think we could ignore this. I think this would be kind of forcing us to see. You know, you could even make a better case for this. And here's something that I typically look for. And I would ask traders this, right? So how come we ignore this one, but we take this one, which is lower? And that's something I always ask myself. Does that make sense? How come we take the retracement, which is lower, but ignore the one that is higher? And typically that's a sign for me. Now, it would be clearer if maybe if we did something like that, then maybe you can make more of a case for it because that retracement became higher. But the fact that this retracement is lower than the previous one, I just don't think we could ignore it, in my opinion. But again, at the end of the day, trade what you see. You want to be as consistent as possible with how you trade. I have a hard time telling people that what they're seeing is wrong, but this one will be difficult. Is it easier to see if we create the history that the market is telling us? What do you mean by create history? Now, I never want to create history. History should already be there, but explain what you mean. What do you mean by create history to see the XDA? You mean like scrunch your charts up like that? Like make the chart smaller, squeeze it up? 1 minute till Canadian news. The retracements and the ABC pattern form. Yeah, but I'm not understanding what you're saying. Would it be easier to create? What do you mean by create history? Retracements and extensions form patterns, correct? But what do you mean? It's always tough trying to type this in so I understand. Interpreting the widgets. I'm sorry. I'm not getting the point. So I'm not saying you're off. I'm just having trouble figuring out what you're trying to get at. Like, are you saying it's easier to see patterns if we use our drawing tools like that? Real quick, looks like we're seeing some Canadian strength initially. So probably not a negative GDP number. But no crazy type of movement so far. Do you mean drawing how price has moved? So drawing the ebbs and flows? By doing this? Yeah. I think you should do that every single time you draw. Yeah, every single time you draw a pattern formation. Really, every single time you do technical analysis on the chart, I think you should be drawing in those lines. Yep, 100%. I think every time you look at a chart, whether you're looking for pattern formations, whether you're looking for double tops, double bottoms, whether you're looking for retracements and pullback trades, I think you should be drawing in those ebbs and flows, because those same ebbs and flows are going to be the same ones that you use for patterns. Now I get what you're saying. Yeah. For example, for you, this is ABC. For other people, it could just be an X to A. Well, and you're referring to this whole thing like this, right? Yeah. Well, here's where I have trouble with it, and that's what I said. I said, look, my eyes are my eyes. So I try not to debate people on their X to A's. But here's the question, right? So if you're drawing out your ebbs and flows, right, on this chart, let's say you're going through something like this, right? You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, right? My question would be this. Here's my challenge, right? Why would you ignore this one, yet count this one? Why would this one be ignored in this particular scenario? Now, there are going to be some scenarios like this one where you can make the case where it's like, hey, this is one big move. The point I was trying to make is I think this retracement is so blatant. I think it's so obvious that I think it's hard to ignore and say, this doesn't count. Especially if you're going to identify this as one. Does that make sense? And it falls really close to the category where maybe you want to see a pattern. This one didn't give you the pattern. And because you want to see it, now you're measuring this. So I would still have, I'm all for drawing out X and A or drawing out ebbs and flows however you want. Again, just the issue I have with this one is I think this is such an obvious retracement that I question how you can ignore this one yet see this one. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit different than the ones that are kind of 50-50. Does that make sense? However, you get a case like this where, you may have two traders and one may say, you know what? Hey, Kale, look at this. X to A. Another trader may say, you know what? No, X to A like that. This is one where it's like, hey, either one would be fine to me. I can see you making the case for either one of these. I can see you making the case as this being one big leg down, or I can, I wouldn't complain if a trader said, you know what? This is actually two legs for me. Right? But I just, the point with this one, I think this one is just it's such an obvious retracement that it would be hard. It would be hard for me to ignore it. So I hope that makes sense. But at the end of the day, trade what you see. Again, what matters is that you're consistent in your analysis. So if you're looking at an X to A like this, just make sure you're doing it every single time. Because if you're consistent in your analysis, then you're consistent in the patterns that you took during your back testing. If you're consistent in what you took during the back testing, then there's a good chance that your results will be consistent in the markets. The problem comes when you have inconsistencies where you're looking at this time, but the next time you're taking this, and then the time after you're taking that. Now there's no consistency in your trading. That's where you can get in trouble, and you can't really rely on your numbers. So I hope that makes sense, guys. No one's saying yes, so I probably lost everyone, but hope that makes sense. All right. Any questions about New Zealand dollar? Perfect. All right. Let's do one more, guys. Is that okay? One more before we take our break. I know we're a little bit over already. 26.18 possibility here on Aussie Canada. So for you guys looking to get short here, Aussie Canada, we did get a break and close below that structure level. You can look for that 26.18 opportunity as a chance to get short. So remember we talked about break and pullback. That's on the range bar chart. We did get our break. Let's see if we have the same thing on. We did not get a break on the 5 minute of this level. So again, range bar chart giving us a little bit of a different story than the minute chart. 5 minute chart, no break. Hold that level. Range bar chart, do have a break and close. So different stories on different charts. All right, let's go dollar yen, and then we will take. Oh, that's not it. USD JPY. Then we'll get out of here for our first break. Dollar yen. We'll start on the daily. Again, not really too interested on anything on the daily until we break this line. Ale says, would you pay attention to the range bar chart? I would, yeah. I trade the range bar, so yes. Yep. Range bars are my go-to for day trading. Do 4 hour chart. Let's put a 4 hour on dollar yen. You can see not much happening on dollar yen. We'll go down to the 60. The 1 hour. And on the 1 hour, we have a potential bat pattern. It's going to be a very small one. But if you're looking to get short, right? If you're looking to get short, you have an X leg starting up here, 108.94, X to A to B, B to C, and if we rally up, it'll be a CD completion. Not a lot of meat on the bone for this one. More than I thought, about 16 pips. I take that back. About 16 pips there. So if you're looking for an intraday pattern here, dollar yen, potential bear bat, 108.89. Aside from that, dollar yen again, unless we break those highs, I don't really have any interest in the dollar yen. It's been kind of stuck like Chuck for the last few weeks. But often when we get consolidation, we will also see pattern formation. So this would be an opportunity. Questions on dollar yen? Short and sweet. This would also be, real quick, just going back to dollar Canada. This would also be a good example of kind of a fib inversion trade. And I know we don't talk about it a lot. But if you take a look at what happened here, watch this, right? If we take this last move down, right? And we take our Fibonacci extension tool, invert it from here to here. Let's see if that 1618 is up there. A little bit higher than it, but right in the zone of that 1618. Let's see, I don't think we're going to have actually the 1-to-1, so we're probably going to be a little bit off here. But something I love to see is that 1618, that AB equals CD, yeah, we're way off here. And then looking for that 618 up here to line up. So we don't quite get it. We get the 618. We don't quite get these things lining up. But one of my favorite setups is when we see that. We see this 1618 and that 618 lining up in that same zone. You add an ABCD there. You can actually add a 127 as the complex pullback forms. And it makes for a pretty decent trading opportunity for day traders. You can see that's all in that zone right there. And lo and behold, we keep that zone for the double top. So that's a pretty decent trading opportunity. El says, what about the inversion of the retracement of the AB equals CD? You could add that too. It doesn't really serve. This doesn't really do much for me. But you can add there for confluence. I don't really get much out of taking the inversion of C to C back to B. Really, the only time I like to use the Fibonacci inversion is when I need to. I think the Fibonacci extension is much more important. So I only like to use the inversion when I don't have another opportunity. So when we see something like this, right, we can't use a Fibonacci extension, correct? Yeah, so all I can use is that Fibonacci inversion. So when we get stuff like this, and I know I will use it. I know Gabby likes using it a lot. It's not unimportant, don't get me wrong. For me, it's just not as important as the other ones. So if I had a choice, I'd prefer the normal extension is going to be a lot more to me. But nothing wrong with added confluence, right? The more confluence you can add, the better. So nothing wrong at all with saying, hey, we're going to throw another 127 and 618 into that zone as well. Because the more you can get in that zone, unless you're forcing it, obviously, and drawing fibs from random places, the better the opportunity is going to be. And you see it's no surprise that we reverse inside this zone. Now, what would have been better, I guess we just, maybe we just nip it. Would have been better if there was a big chunk of inside structure. So something like if we had come down from like that, that would have been ideal. But we can't always look for perfection in the market. But that would have been ideal. All right, let's put 13 minutes on the clock. We will take our break, our 56-minute break. I'll see you guys when we return. All right, gang, welcome back to the second half of today's live room session. So far, we've been through, we did a little talk about the stock market and investing and a positive outlook. We talked about the Euro Aussie, which had a good structure selling opportunity. The Euro Dollar, which had a potential cipher, but nothing too major on it because of today's events. The Aussie Canada, which is probably the best trading opportunity on the radar as far as kind of a longer term selling position, trend continuation trade goes. The New Zealand dollar, which had a potential advanced pattern formation on it. And the dollar yen, which was essentially a nothing burger. I'm going to go through the rest of those were the four that I had on my radar today. We'll scroll through the rest of the portfolio and we will see what we have on the radar. As always, if you guys have a pair or something that you want to take a look at, let me know. I try to get the pairs that I think will be educational out the way first. And then we can either let it be a free-for-all, or I'll just go through kind of my portfolio in my normal order. Have you already started backtesting, AL? Ooh, backtesting. We all love backtesting. Backtesting is fun, man. It builds character. Builds character. Good old backtesting. All right. Pound dollar on the daily. If you guys remember yesterday, we saw, and you said I'm backtesting right now. Now, did you recently go back and start over, Andrew? I remember you were considering that as you were thinking about adding a few things. Did you end up starting over, or are you kind of sticking to what you were doing? I started over so many times, it's embarrassing. But I was looking for shortcuts in backtesting. I wasn't looking for the journey. I was looking for the destination. So I wasn't looking to kind of like find out how I can maximize my system and how I can make it fit my personality. I was just backtesting as a task. I was like, look, my trading mentor said I had to do it, so I'm just gonna get it done with because that's what I have to do to get to the next step. And that was not a very intelligent way to go about it. But those are the mistakes that rookie traders make. And I'm sure some of you guys have done the same, where you've backtested it just for purpose because you're like, I want to trade live, and Akil says I have to backtest before I trade live, so we'll just go ahead and do it. And you said, I'm doing my current stuff on a new pair, but making more notes, not throwing out what I have so far, just learning as I add more, if that makes sense. Yeah, no. When I did my backtesting, and unfortunately all of my backtesting results are blown up with one of my previous trading computers, but I would always keep all of the results because I'd find myself going back to it months later and be like, well, remember when I tried that? Let's kind of compare and contrast. So I had files and files and files of like backtests and half completed backtest and stuff like that. Again, unfortunately, all of that blew up. This was before I was smart enough to save stuff on the cloud or save stuff on like a external hard drive. But luckily, I was at the point where I had already kind of created my trading. I'd already it done it purpose. I was already trading before that happened. But that was another lesson learned, I guess you can say, is just always have a backup. Always have a backup. So when things blow up, they're not all destroyed. But what I have is working, so not throwing it out, just wanting to improve it. Yep. Just be careful you don't get into the habit of wanting to over improve. We see that a lot with a lot of traders where they're hunting for perfection and they over filter and they overdo this and it's really it's who was I talking to about this? I gotta remember this type of stuff. But I was talking to someone about chasing perfection and how that's just it sounds good on paper, even in life, like perfection in life, but it's really not. I mean, there's really no such thing as being perfect. Aside from like if it's something that's really quantitative, like a test, or if it's George, because George is perfect, right? Or was it you, George? But there's no such thing as perfect. You want to just be, I don't want to say good enough, but you want to be the best that you can be. Yeah, maybe it was you then, George. Yeah. You want to be the best that you can be. You look at something like, I guess in baseball you do have the perfect game. That's quantitative, but even like a football player, like let's say a quarterback, you can have the quote unquote the perfect season, but you still may fumble, you still may throw an interception. So you don't want to get caught up so much in backtesting that you make so much filters, you create so much stuff that you shoot for perfection because you're never going to get it. You want to be good and you want to maximize what you have because no trading strategy is perfect. Even Mr. Perfect lost matches. That is true. I used to love Mr. Perfect. Last said, in my opinion, just get to just come to the outcome, get to the outcome and accept it. Won't be perfect, but get as much as you can. And again, it doesn't mean you shouldn't. You want to maximize, right? You want to maximize. Nothing wrong with wanting to maximize, but there's a big difference between maximization and perfection. And if you're shooting for perfection, you're never going to get it. And again, this was very similar for you guys that were in the Q&A Monday. We were trying to break down a set of rules for Naomi, and we were having, at least I was really struggling trying to create a rule for what she was looking for. And that's the essence of the market, where you there's not, some situations are not perfect, right? X to A legs aren't perfect. I've tried for years, I've given up because I don't care anymore, about, creating rules for an X to A leg. And guess what? For impulse legs, I can't do it. It's an artsy type of thing, right? Every time I've created a rule, guess what it did? It filtered out some X to A legs that are perfectly valid because the rule was hit. So it hurts it on the back end. So maximize performance. That's the key, but not perfection. Les had a chat with her afterwards about that. Did you figure it out? Were you able to get her an answer for it? It was a tough question. Keel, do you have any specific rules from rule for X to A? X to A needs to be an impulse leg or an anchor leg. So a sore thumb, swing high to swing low, or swing low to swing high. It doesn't really matter for me if it's an anchor leg or an impulse leg, but technically if it's an impulse leg, it needs to break previous structure. Yep. So same way I teach it. Same way I teach it. But as far as rule, I used to try and put a rule in where it's like, well, if it comes to a 3D, once price pulls back to a 3D2 retracement, then it's no longer an impulse leg. And, that was something to try and, make it easier for traders to understand. Fact of the matter is, there have been some cases in the market where price pulls back to a 3D2, and guess what? That full move is still an impulse leg. So for me, it doesn't work. Again, it doesn't. If you want to create a rule, that's fine. I have nothing against it. Some people need that. But as long as you don't want to create a rule that's going to really take away from what you naturally see, right? You don't want to what's the thing? Cut off your something despite your something else, whatever that is. But yeah, it's very hard to create rules for it because it is art. It is art. I mean, what if we took an artist and said, hey, before you paint this picture, make sure you follow these rules. How do you think that artist is going to react? Probably not very well. You're destroying their creativity. So it's art. It's interpretation. That's really all it is. It's interpretation. It works within a general rule set. I'm sure there are general rules of art where it's like, hey, well, maybe art's a bad example, but there are general rules of, like, say, dance, where a technique, or like cooking, where a technique should be done a certain way. You shouldn't, we were talking about MasterChef yesterday, right? And there are rules. There are certain things you shouldn't put on certain dishes, right? Like you shouldn't put butterscotch on eggs. That's a horrible example. But there are certain rules you need to follow for cooking things, right? But within those rules, you can experiment with different spices. You can experiment with different techniques, different type of sears, or different type of ways of baking it, or boiling it, or frying it. And whether you like it or not is kind of, that's up to you and your interpretation of it. So I think the markets are the same way. But yeah, it's tough. But hopefully you guys gain some ground. Let's say, pretty much told her to embrace her subjectivity. That's always been her problem. She's very similar to Gabby, which makes sense for some other reasons. But yeah, subjectivity. They're very data-based people. Gabby was very difficult to teach, and she says she doesn't actually need a rules based on the situation. Just become more confident in that subjective aspect of trading. Yeah, and subjectivity it gets easier with experience. I mean, think about something simple like a double top, right? Probably when you first started identifying double tops, it was probably very, 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 very difficult. But as you get more used to it, you kind of get an eye for it. Oh, that's the V. That's an open space. That's a clear retracement and retest. Oh no, that's not one. So it's tough, but you got to understand experience is so key. It's time training your skill. It's no different from, again, younger basketball player, couldn't dribble with my left hand. So what did I do? I went outside and every day I dribbled with my left hand. And it was weird and awkward at first, but eventually it got comfortable. So it's glad you helped her. Chacho says pound dollar structure looking left, triangle breaking to the upside for hour one. We shall see. Yep, we are still holding previous structure lows. Yesterday we were looking for a double bottom here at structure, right? We're thinking potential buying opportunities unless we break that previous level of structure, then we're thinking short again. Right now, price action is consolidating here at the lows. So you can see not really much you can work with on the 60. However, we get to, on the 4 hour, however we get to the 60, and we can see the triangle that Chacho is talking about. Now again, pound dollar, I would just avoid this, to be honest with you. But if you're looking to involve yourself in a trade, you can look for a breakout of this pattern formation. Now, the tough part about this is and this comes from experience. This is probably more of just consolidation and waiting than your natural triangle pattern. But also one thing you want to be aware about it, if you are a breakout trader of this pattern formation, be aware that your structure is right on top of it. So depending on how you're gauging targets, there may only be minimum room for this to rally after a breakout. Again, this is just taking the news event out of the picture and just looking at it from a pure technical perspective. That's one thing you would want to consider is, does this area of structure right here concern you? If yes, you're probably going to have a hard time setting up proper profit potentials. If no, then you'll be fine. And here's Aussie Canada. The slightest of retest and a rollover. Just the slightest. No way you could have gotten involved, in my opinion, on the retest. It was literally a single candle up, so you can't be mad about that. But we're seeing a continuation to the downside here with Aussie Canada. If we take a quick look, if I just jump over back to the 5-minute chart, remember we didn't have a break on the 5-minute chart. We now do. Next stopping point is going to be right down here. Let's say pound Canada descending triangle potentially with room to go down to 60. We can look at pound Canada next. Oh, 1 day, not 1 day, 15. All right, pound dollar here on the 15. Any questions on the cable on the pound dollar? We'll head over to pound Canada next. Interesting, we're seeing this movement now. Unless I missed something from this morning. Market took its good old time to kind of interpret. Yeah. We had a bunch of news at 8:30, but we didn't see an initial reaction after that. So market took a little bit to digest it. Positive GDP, but negative everything else. Drew said a lot of my pairs have been coming up short of the kill zone. That's the worst. You waste all that time or spend all that time identifying this zone. You wait, and then it just misses. The worst. All right, pound Canada. Let's go through that IPDE process. Identify, predict, decide, execute. Identify, where are we currently trading at? Just broke 160s. Where would you say we're currently trading at here on pound Canada? Tough one. I would say, yeah, I would say between levels of structure. We just got to a stopping point. We could continue lower, but we're kind of in between different levels of structure here, and the market is starting to hold. And what I mean by between different levels of structure, we're within a bigger structure zone. We technically could continue lower. I guess technically we can always continue lower. We could continue lower, but we're still within the zone, the bigger zone of support. So I would still be a little bit cautious with selling here. At the same time, you want to be cautious with buying. Most recently, though, we have that break and close below structure there. Let's go down to the 240. Make sure I put my notes on for this. 125. 240, we're starting to see a little bit of consolidation, right? We're starting to see price action do this, right? We come down. We've technically double bottomed right here. So if you're someone looking for a buying opportunity, this would have been your mark. And it technically still is your mark. If you're more conservative, you can look for that 26.18 opportunity and wait for the break of that level, the return to it, and the chance to get involved up. Now, how this double bottom plays out is gonna tell you a lot about what is likely to happen, right? Because we know that double bottoms can often turn into what? They can turn into flags, they can turn into pennants, they can turn into consolidation patterns, right? So this can easily, and this is kind of what Chacho mentioned on the pound dollar, this can easily turn into this, which you can now look at as a bear flag, right? What would be a better signal if you're looking for a chance to get short is if this turns into a descending triangle. Because a flag at previous structure doesn't really mean too much to me, but a descending triangle gives us a much stronger prediction that price is likely to do what? Continue lower. And there is room for us to go lower. So a lot of this is going to depend on really how this current leg plays out, right? If we can do this, there's a good chance that we may see a reversal and a continuation up, a continuation back to, say, 61.50s. However, if we put in lower highs and then come back down to keep retesting these lows, that's going to set up a different formation, which has us thinking a move in the other direction. So this is one where you gotta watch price action closely. This is one where you gotta really kind of read in between the lines. This is where knowing how to read a candlestick, all the stuff from the foundation course, the first one, this is where it comes in handy, right? Looking for those small clues to really gauge which way is the market more likely to move. Is it more likely to go up? Is it more likely to go down? And then obviously you can set up your trade accordingly. Heading down to the 15-minute, or a 60, excuse me, skipping over to 60. 60-minute chart, again, clear as day double bottom here. Clear as day double bottom. And you're waiting to see how price action reacts. Now, I keep promising we're not going to get too deep into this RSI stuff, but another way to look at the RSI is, let's say we come up here and we retrace to create these lows. Very positive sign if we break lows on the RSI. Very positive sign, because I know as typically we talk about the RSI as a way of measuring, as looking for like reversals, right? We look for overbought and oversold conditions and look for that to be a potential sign of an upcoming reversal. But remember, at the heart, RSI is a indicator of what? It's an indicator of strength. So to have the market break this level, what does that tell us? Is there more selling strength or buying strength? More selling strength. And that's just another clue. It's another clue. But if you guys remember, this is one of those, again, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but the cool thing from the John Hayden book with the RSI and my buddy David Alcindor was looking for this 665 area, because I'm not going to say the other six, in this 33 area. and then having that rotation back across the 50 line to that level, and then coming back down across again into that lower third. It's a positive sign. So it's kind of cool that this structure, this RSI structure, lines up at that area. But anyway, it doesn't make a difference. But that's another trick that you can look for, is look for that RSI to kind of continue down. You saw the same thing about right here. Actually, if you look at it, very similar, where price action, we didn't have the initial oversoldness, but where price action broke structure about right here, and then continue down despite being oversold. And then where was the next break of structure? Right up here. No real reaction. We never went across. All right, stop the kill. Let's get back to business. All right, so let's go down to the 15-minute chart. See if there's any anything on the lower time frames. I apologize for that. Sometimes I kind of get in the zone of my own thoughts. There's not too much on the 15. So yeah, wait to see how price forms here. 60-minute, 4 hour. Be on the lookout for, again, a descending triangle. If we can get that descending triangle, if we just pop back out to the daily, really hard to see. This is where maybe those putting those VS1 levels on. Let's see if I can throw one on real quick and see if that will give us a clear sign here. This is where this would be helpful if it's going to give me what I want to see. Let's try 4 hour. I might change it to daily. Yeah, so here's a good example of where those VS1 levels will come in handy, because they'll show you those lower structure zones. So you can see this small one inside. This is that next zone, 159.38. And then you even have a bigger zone a little bit back of that. So again, we talked yesterday about I haven't been having the VS1s on my chart just because it makes it makes it a little bit more sloppy. But this is where they come in handy. When you're at a location in the market and you're trying to figure out, man, where is that next level of structure at that I should be paying attention to, and maybe you can't really zoom out and find it, this is a good opportunity. And you can probably do the same thing for the Aussie Canada that we looked at as well, where you're looking at Aussie Canada, and this one's so far back that I don't even have enough data on here. But you'd be able to get a good VS1 level of where that next level of structure is at. Hey, Cody. Is anyone else on mobile and can't see the screen? Meanwhile, we'll go to Dollar Canada next. Get my VS1s out of here. Were you able to see it yesterday, Cody? Were you in here yesterday? Okay. Because I know we're on the new version of Click Meeting, which they're, Darren was supposed to get us back on the old version, so potentially maybe the new version has something to do with it. But I know we were on there, not Monday, right? We were on there yesterday and today. So perhaps that could be it. We would prefer to get back. Had the same live room, so London would be here too. But we'll see what we can do. All right, Dollar Canada on the daily. This will be a quick one. This is going to be another nothing burger, but we did see a little bit of movement yesterday, breaking kind of above this high water mark, but actually not really because that got pushed up. But Dollar Canada is going to be an interesting one. This is another one that has an advanced pattern setting up a big one. We'll draw it back on. We'll just put Enigma back on so you can see it. Remember, there's a big potential advanced pattern formation here on Dollar Canada. We definitely have a ways to go, but if we see a massive amount of movement in the market today, maybe we'll get there quicker than expected. All good. Your voice is lovely. Thank you. Thank you. I'm itching. I saw your post this morning. Your new gym clips, man. I'm itching to get back in the gym. They're redoing our athletic weight room this summer, so right now it's shut down. But there's a bunch of free weights that are stored in our locker room, which I will be taking advantage of. But yeah, I've been itching, and I'm jealous of the clips because we have crap ones, complete crap. All right, dollar Canada 240, right? We'll go down to the 60 clear review. I know a lot of you guys had this on your radar yesterday. We will draw it back out, but you guys are looking at bat pattern, bat pattern, bat pattern. Did any of you guys end up getting involved in it? Cody says $12 on Amazon. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. Our school's cheap. Our school's cheap. We even had to get our own weight belts for our females because they wouldn't provide us with smaller ones because they didn't think that women lifted weights. Idiots, but oh well. All right, so if you did not get involved and you have this as a bat, then there's still a chance. The completion was at 131.24. We're currently at 131.26. So you're kind of right in that area of still being able to get involved without being too much off of the trade. Maybe a couple pips due to the spread, but still an opportunity if you missed it earlier. Lastly, would you say the short at 131.50 was realistic and a good setup in hindsight from this morning? Well, obviously, it depends on your rules. For me, no, I wouldn't be looking to short here. But I can see if you were looking to take advantage of the break in structure and the pullback, then yes, it was a good setup. Again, assuming it meets your rules. I mean, good or bad is all going to be dependent on does it meet your rules or not. So I don't know. Is that kind of what you're asking or what? There was news that came out that candle. We did see a news-based reaction. Yeah, so it wouldn't. It's a quality setup if it meets your rules. I can't phrase it other than that. I wouldn't have any interest in it, but I can see the concept. The concept is the break below, close below structure, the retest. So if your rules say, hey, that is a trade, that is a trading opportunity I'm interested in, then yes, I would say it would be a good trade. But it's going to be more dependent on, it's hard for me to tell you if it's a good trade because it's rule dependent. Does that make sense? Like I can't say yes or no. It all depends on if you deem this to be a situation that you would want to be involved in. For me, I wouldn't have any interest because I would have no confidence that we're likely to continue to these lows, right? So if we're looking at this real time, where we're seeing this, we're in consolidation. Despite having the break and close below, if we look left, where are we at? We're still in consolidation. So I know I wouldn't be looking for a move short, because the overall analysis, higher time frame, nothing tells me that we're more likely to go short versus long. Even here, although the general idea of a break of structure and a pullback makes sense, that is a style that I trade. As far as me projecting profits, there's no way that I would anticipate price coming down to here. Does that make sense, traders? There's no way I would say, hey, we're likely to continue down here, because when I look left, I just see all of this junk. And there's as good of a chance of continuing to the bottom of this junk as there is at stopping at the high of this junk. So for me, it wouldn't be a trading opportunity I'm looking at. Now, from just a technical perspective, right? And your break below, close below, your pullback into structure, yeah, it's technically a good trade. Yeah, assuming you can get involved in here. And in order to get involved in this area, unless you're very aggressive, you would have had to use a range bar chart. Tasha says, maybe because of daily we had a trend rotation. After consolidation, break to the upside. Well, that I don't think that would help us out either, because we'd be looking. Oh, talking to Latch. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, even on the daily, I mean, we haven't had anything. We haven't even had a trend rotation on the daily. To be honest with you, we just have nothing. Yeah, until, like you said, it's hard to trade until consolidation stops. Yeah, even on the daily, we don't have we just have nothing here on Canada. We just have nothing, right? If you're looking at this as a short-term uptrend within a longer-term downtrend, we technically don't even violate the previous outside return, because our previous outside return is technically right here, right? If we look at these highs and this being our new structure high, so it's one of those things where it's just junky. It's just nasty. But if you're looking at how you would have been able to catch this, range bar chart, there's probably a good chance we went overbought here. I'm gonna say there's probably a good chance we went overbought and had some type of rotation there. So let's look down the range bar charts. We'll go down to the 15 and the 5. They aren't going to give us much because this pair is nasty and disgusting. But I bet if we go down to a range bar chart on dollar Canada, I bet you can find an opportunity in hindsight. USDC AD. So where are we looking at? Here's our break. Maybe not. Here's our break. And here's our move right here. This is what you would have been looking for. I mean, this would have been the entry right here. Now, if you need any, either, excuse me, either the double top right here or the pin bar lower low, lower close right there. Now, if you need RSI confluence, you're not going to get it there, aside from some divergence. Even on a range bar chart, not a very appetizing situation here. Yep, had it on the radar as a potential opportunity to learn from, but not take. So basically, in hindsight, and I would just say that I would have no reason to want to involve myself in a short trade. Because just general analysis, I would have no reason to believe that the market is actually likely to continue lower. So although like the technicals of the break below, close below, and pullback make sense, at the end of the day, I ask myself, Akil, where is price likely to go? And when I get to that part kind of in my process, it's a big question mark. And I don't want to involve myself in a trade unless I'm confident in a directional prediction. So if I'm involving myself in a long trade, I want to be confident that my analysis and my prediction tell me that price is likely to continue long, and then vice versa for a short one. The only other situation is a pattern trade, but that's kind of more specific because that's a strategy, and I take them all. And my outside judgment doesn't really matter when it comes to patterns because I have to take every single one of them. All right, let's go to Aussie dollar next. Yeah, we did New Zealand dollar. Yeah, Aussie dollar next. AUD USD 144. So the question I would ask you, Latch, is at that level, in real time, would you have predicted that price would rally down to a potential target level, to those lows? I think that's the main question that you would have to ask, as far as kind of just being honest and saying, should I have looked at this as a trade or shouldn't I have? If the answer is yes, then you jot it down. If the answer is no or a question mark, then it's like, well, yeah. All right, Aussie dollar here. Coming towards previous structure lows. We have a lot lower that we could go, so it's not a very appetizing position for this pair. I'm hungry. I would have only gone retest to max, so not the lows you were talking about. Gotcha. So big bullish candle on Aussie dollar. As we talked about, there was inflation news last night not inflation news. There was inflation news last night for Aussie dollar. So we're seeing those big green candles. Now we're seeing a little bit of consolidation within them. You're going to see potential flags and slowdowns all over the place. But again, this is partially due to the news events coming out later today and the market not wanting to do anything to kind of show its hand or get any exposure to the markets. Let's go down to the 60. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go down to the 15. You can make the case for, nope, we're going to be 3D2, not a bat. Cipher, perhaps, actually. Oh, well, yeah, look at that. Well, we'll measure out both of them. Looks like a potential cipher. Let's see. Yep. So a potential cipher and a potential bat here. We'll measure out the cipher first. A cipher would look like this on this pair. X to A to B, a skinny X to A, right? And A to B. B to C, and a CD completion right down here at 68.70s. And then the bat pattern is going to be within that cipher pattern, looking like, get up there, yeah, there we go. X to A to B, B to C, and a CD completion down here. And it looks like, depending on how you measure out stops, your stop loss may be just above the completion point, again, depending on how much you front run as well, of the cipher. So this could be a situation where you have to choose one or the other. This could be a situation where you split your position, or this could be a situation where you place both. And that's going to depending on do you front run or do you not front run, and where your stop loss is at here. Or more realistically, you're probably not taking the bat because there's probably not enough pip potential in there. There's only 8 pips. Probably not a good usage of your time and money. So maybe the cipher is the only one that's actually on your radar. Ooh, look at that. Trading View. Bitcoin, the complete mind. What? Pattern. Let's check it out. See some Elliott waves in there. Complete mind pattern. Look at that. Lisa's super duper support. I wasn't buying it at super, but when she added the duper, that's when I knew it was strong. I haven't been on TradingView in so long. I kind of despise it now, which I feel bad about. It is a great platform, but I feel like the community is just toxic now. Well, maybe I'm blinded by what we have here at Tier 1. When trading, and this always happens with every single forum, whenever the public gets to it, TradingView, it's an awesome platform, right? First and foremost, awesome platform from a technical perspective. I love it. I put it a smidgen below NinjaTrader, just because I've been trading with NinjaTrader for a lot longer, and there's some things I can do on NinjaTrader I can't do on TradingView, and the things I like to do a little bit better on NinjaTrader. But grade A platform. But when we first started, right, and I was down from the beginning. I was actually on the beta testing committee for TradingView, and it was funny because at the time we were considering starting our own prop firm at Trade Empowered, and I was talking to Jason Stapleton, and we were actually building out our own trading platform because, as you guys know, if we start a prop firm and we hire all of you guys in our prop firm, guess what we need to see? I need to see everything you're doing so you don't F up my money, right? So it was it was a community platform. Yeah, it was a community platform where basically if Raymond takes a position, right, I can actually load up a chart and I can see exactly what Raymond did. I can see where his stops are at. I can see where his targets are at, his orders are at. That way, I can stop Raymond from being his worst enemy. Now, we would trust that Raymond wouldn't make mistakes, but let's say, we're looking at our joint P&L and I'm like, hey, Raymond, what's with that red? And Raymond's like, no, it's all good, coach. It's all good. I can click to my screen and be like, hey, Raymond keeps moving his stop loss back. Let's go cancel this trade for him because he's out of control right now. We'll shut him down. So we're building out a platform so we can all do that. And it was going to be very similar to what TradingView was, where not only can, from the manager perspective, we can manage and look at your trades, but we can have the whole team, meaning you guys that are part of the prop firm, we can have you all on the same page. So there would basically be a chat like this on the trading platform. I guess like how TradingView is, a chat and forum and a virtual prop firm. So we were building out our own charting package, and we were all excited about it. It was cool, and it was like, hey, this is awesome. This is gonna be cool. And it was remedial as hell, right? It was really remedial, but it got the job done. Right? It wasn't pretty. It's early phases. And then I get this message where TradingView wanted Jason to beta test this new platform, and Jason didn't have time for it, so he sent it over to his flunky, which was me. And I started beta testing this thing. And he was like, yeah, they said it's like the best technical web-based platform ever and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. Get an email that says it every week. And I remember using it. I went back to Jason. I'm like, man, this is good. And he took a look at it and he's like, okay, well, let's just destroy our idea. So it made us feel so bad about what we were building that we just chalked it. We just threw it away. But TradingView started, and the community was great, as it always is. There's positivity, support of traders on there, and all this other stuff. And then, like anything else, it basically got so flooded. The bad apples were rotten enough that it ruined the environment, in my opinion. There are some very good traders on TradingView, but in my opinion, I think it's more filled with. I shouldn't say it. It seems like it's more filled with like spammy type of stuff to me. And maybe I shouldn't judge that way, but it's just like, I don't know. I see a lot of there's a lot of junk. Let's put it. There's a lot of junk you have to filter through to get to the good stuff. And I haven't been on here in a while, but for you guys that use it, would you agree, or am I wrong here? And again, maybe I hold myself to a certain standard where if I see any junk, I solidify it as that. But I feel like there's just a lot of. It used to be like, man, every single idea here is a quality idea from a quality trader. And now it's like, what is it? I gotta kind of filter through to find like a quality idea. And that's what's gonna happen with every public forum. Yeah, I went in the forums once. And I got man, they ate me alive as soon as I went in there. I don't know what happened. It was Thanksgiving. It was the Detroit Lions, who traditionally play on Thanksgiving, and they're bad. They're playing someone, and I was bored waiting for the Cowboys to play. And I was looking at a chart on something, and I went into I don't even know how I got in there. I clicked the button. I went into a TradingView forum, and I was just like, first time in the forum in like 5 years. I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? And then one person like, oh, hey, Akil, happy Thanksgiving. I'm like, okay, this is going to be nice. And then like word must have gotten out. Oh, here's this spammer. Here's this salesman that's blah, blah, blah coming to sell us stuff in this form. Oh, Akil, burn. I'm like, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. Like I was in there. I wasn't talking anything. I was talking fantasy football. That's what it was. Because I was upset. I was like, man, I got one game left. I got on my team. Like, I need these fantasy points. I was talking fantasy football with someone. Nothing trading related. And, man, they had they got the pitchforks and fires out, torches out quick. And I was like, man, get out of here, you salesman. I'm like, I'm talking about Calvin Johnson. Like, I need a touchdown for him to win my game. Sorry. And man, it's just, yeah, that's when I realize that forums are still as bad as they used to be. But yeah, the whole prop firm thing would have been cool, man. I don't know how we would have operated it, but it would have been a cool idea. But there may be something even cooler coming down the road. Wink, wink, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that I can't talk about right now, but wink, wink, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Taylor said I'm, yeah. Again, without, I'll just put it this way, and I said to you guys before, my dream as a trading coach is that, it is awesome to be in a position where I'm teaching people how to trade and I'm teaching them to learn a skill that they can change their life. But there is still one step that is missing, and I would like to bridge the gap. I would like to be in a position where we can bridge the gap and not only teach people the skill of trading, but we talked about it earlier. Not all of you guys have money. Ale was like, you know what, I can't afford to, save for investments and save for trading and be a part of tier one trading. Is just too much. I would love to put people in a position where once they get to a certain skill level, they could be put in a position where they can start using that skill to make money. Like that would be the cool thing for someone like, Andrew, for example, where it's like, Andrew, you've gotten good. You don't have enough to quit your job and trade full time, but because you've gotten so good and you've proven yourself, you get an opportunity to work a job, but now your job is trading. And then obviously within that opportunity, there are more opportunities. The better you get, you can start investing your own funds. But I think that would be cool. A prop firm in general, yeah. I mean, there are forex prop firms. Prop firms isn't just stock and commodity specific. There are prop firms that are forex only. There are prop firms that do both. I know talking to Mike Bellafiore, they do both. I mean, and they're looking to grow, kind of diversify themselves. They do forex as well. Obviously, just forex is not as popular, amongst those type of places. But yeah, there are places that are specific, do both. Yeah. Yeah, you got to understand, forex is still so relatively new. It's still a baby. It's still a baby. It seems kind of old because now crypto is the big thing and there are binary options, right? All the get rich quick stuff that everyone is getting excited about. But yeah, it's still relatively new. George said, if you make money trading, there is a firm for you. Yeah. If you're profitable, it's like think about it like a sport, right? If you're a good player, someone will add you to the team. If you can contribute to the team and make them better, someone will give you a roster spot. So that's the dream. So that's cool. I feel like we're getting closer to that, but I hope that is something that happens in the near future. That is my ultimate goal. Once that happens, I can die happy. Because I will honestly feel really bad if I can't achieve that in my life. Because I feel like I feel like it's a team that is one piece away from winning a championship and you never get there. You don't quite get it. Kind of like the Buffalo Bills when they lost those 3 Super Bowls back to back. Back to back to back. Ah, yeah. Like Gerard not winning the premiership, yeah. Yep. Like Everton not winning, not winning it this year. You'd feel like that. All right. Good hold here on, not Everton, but Pound Aussie. Good hold here on Pound Aussie. Now, problem is this is one we were looking at yesterday where we were trading below yesterday on the lower time frame. However, the daily had held. And now we're looking to potentially put in a higher high, higher close. This will be a good sign for potential continued bullish movement. I don't think there's a massive amount of upside potential here on the daily compared to what you would need to take on as far as risk goes. But if you take that perspective down to the lower time frame, again, here's something cool you can look for, right? Market has essentially done this, right? we've come down, we've broken and closed on the 4 hour, right? So we've violated structure, and then we've done something like this, right? Wait for this, right? This rotation. So instead of just erasing this entire trading opportunity and saying, oh, we had a break and close below, I can't get involved. What you can do is you can look for a rotation in the opposite direction, right? So look for price action to put in a higher high, higher close, right? That takes us out of that out of that bearish move, puts us in a rotation, and then you can look for the first pullback in that rotation, a hold, and a chance to ride it up. Does that make sense? It's an aggressive move because technically you don't have the bullish trend has not returned, but essentially you're hopping on in anticipation of that bullish trend. That's what I would look to do here. And there is a lot of room here on a lower time frame. Now, the tricky thing is, what structure do you look at? You have this structure right here. You have a little bit of higher structure here. That's going to be a little bit tricky. Preferably, you'd want to see this bigger one broken, something like this, and then a pullback into that area. But, you never know. You never know what the market's going to do. But look for that rotation. Look for that pullback. Wait for the hold on that pullback, and then continue up. I'm excited about the Keen signing. Yes. Do we finally have a striker? Perhaps. We'll see. I can tell you what. We're gonna be an exciting team, which means they're gonna put us on TV, which means I get to watch it without paying extra. I mean, you look. We're gonna be an exciting team to watch. You got Keane, you got Richarlison, you got Bernard. They are all players that you like to watch. They are fun to watch. Will we be able to score goals? I don't know. We'll see. That's always been the problem, but it'll be a fun team to watch. And I don't know if you guys, I know half you guys don't really care about Everton or watch it, but when you watch people like Bernard and Digne, they are Bernard, man. He's flashy. He is flashy. He's doing the stuff that like Neymar used to get in trouble for at PSG when he would just randomly do flashy stuff. Bernard is doing that at least once or twice a game. Not to the Neymar extent, but he'll give you some Brazilian flair, which he'll give you some Brazilian flair, which I think is nice. You need to make the game fun. Like in the NBA, right? You guys remember the player White Chocolate? Anybody remember him? The Sacramento Kings back in the day with White Chocolate and Chris Webber and Vlade Divac, right? White Chocolate was a turnover machine, but I tell you what, Jason Williams, he was doing behind the back elbow passes between the legs. That was a fun team to watch. Just like the Clippers when they had Lob City, alley-oops all the time. Fun team to watch. I think you gotta have fun. You can't just be boring. And I remember as soon as they made Jason Williams White Chocolate, as soon as they calmed him down, they're like, you got to stop doing all these crossovers and behind the back passes and no look stuff because you have too many turnovers. He was boring. He was whack. That's what made him him. Like, I watched him to see like what type of crazy spin bounce pass he would make from like half court. Right? Dude was incredible. Fun. And the team was good. So I think you need a little bit of entertainment. It's fun, man. It gets the morale going when you see someone do something fancy. Marcelo doing a bunch of skills in his own box. Yeah, that's more heart-wrenching than anything else. But yeah, I guess that falls under the category. Just kick it out. You're not a forward. Yeah, I am. No, you're not a forward. Oh, that's exactly what we don't have on the U.S. national team. We have basic, generic, tell the opponent where you're going to pass it at. I swear that's how the U.S. plays. A little bit better now under this new coach. But the U.S. is like, I swear, like they're pointing to the person. Like, hey, I'm going to pass it to you now. No creativity. But the young guys have creativity, ones that are playing over in Europe. Pulisic, Timothy Way, they have creativity. it's yeah. That's we'll get there. We just need creativity. And not to get on too big of a rant, but part of that was taken out. I had this conversation before. It's culture too. I mean, where does creativity come from? When does it start? Let me ask you guys this: Does create? Yeah, okay. George answered. It starts on the streets, right? Think about when you're out in the streets playing football or playing basketball, right? If I'm playing street ball, let's say I'm playing street basketball or football, soccer, right? Are you going by the book? Are you doing the fundamentals? No, right? You're having fun. You're trying something fancy. You're trying new moves because right, no one cares if you mess up. Who cares? You get laughed at by your friends, whatever, right? The reward is bigger if you get someone with a fancy new move, right? You nutmeg someone, you're a hero, right? You cross someone over, you're a street legend, right? That's developing creativity. And you get that in all these other countries where the kids are encouraged to play these sports on the street, or not even encouraged, they don't have another choice, right? We don't have that in American soccer because no one plays it on the street, right? It's become such a privileged sport that they're telling my kid, man, if you're not on task, right, in a program by 6 years old, you don't have a chance. So they're getting coached up at 6 and stuff like that, man. Like, just go play. My kid embarrassed someone yesterday at a soccer camp, right? He didn't even mean to do it. He was just better than that kid. No offense to the other kid. My kid was just better. And he took the ball. He took the ball. He pulled it back to himself and like did a spin move by accident. And my kid like does this like little kangaroo hop when he runs. It's weird. So he it was a step over, but a completely accidental step over, and then scored. And he's just having fun. He's like, I just want to get the ball in the net and have fun doing it. It was awesome though. I didn't get it on film, but it was a step over, but by accident because my kid hops when he runs. He skips, and it's weird. I don't know. But yeah, man, we don't have that creativity, and that's just part of having fun as a kid. And that goes for any sport, man. Just have fun. You're playing American football outside outside at recess. What do? I try to get someone with a spin move every day. I try to hurdle someone every day. Have fun, man. End of the day, have fun. Even at a professional level, have fun. It makes it exciting, and creativity is needed. If not, you end up like the American soccer team. You just pass the ball back and forth until it gets stolen. One day. All right, let's look at a few more pairs and we'll get you guys out of here. Chacho said the Euro Yen ascending triangle after double top on 4 hour deep bearish Gartley. Did we look at Euro Yen already? Did we miss that? We were supposed to take a look at Euro Yen. We changed it to Aussie Canada. So we can go back and look at Euro Yen. I did have a bat pattern on my radar for Euro Yen. Let's look at Euro Yen here. Chacho getting us back on track, which is often needed. Euro Yen here on the daily. Right, again, another nothing burger. We are in that trend continuation setup, but we do have this wick right here, so you could look for short opportunities. Same story he's been talking about for months. He's got to be very, very cautious doing so. If you're looking for a bat pattern, I'm not sure if this is the same when you're looking at bear bat or a bull bat. Excuse me. You're looking at a deep Gartley here. Yeah, that's going to be an opportunity. Yeah. A few things here as we're in consolidation. So one is going to be a potential bigger bull bat. We'll kind of go in the order of them right here. Actually, no. Nope, I think that, nope, we don't hit the 50%. I think this violates this. I take that back. So it's just going to be this smaller one inside here. But here's the potential ascending triangle that he's looking at. Right there. And then within that, if you go down to the hourly, here's going to be the smaller bat. Well, I guess the only bat now, since the other one technically wasn't a bat. Now, you want to check your data on this. Check your data because we come really close to that 618 Fibonacci retracement. It's either going to be a bat or a Gartley. I have a 618 being hit, which means it's going to be a Gartley for me. X to A to B, B to C right here. and then your CD completion would be right at 121.27. And you're looking at a deep bearish Gartley, 1 hour, 120.76. So that's going to be a different one, 120.76. 120.76 right here. So X to A for a bullish one. And I'll draw it on in a second for you guys. But here's a deep bullish one, X to A to B. Go ahead and change this color. X to A to B, B to C, and then a CD completion right down there. So patterns within patterns within patterns here on the Euro Yen 1 hour. Good eyes. I'll tell you what, it's kind of fun being away from the markets, guys. If you guys are just joining, I've been away from the markets for this is the third week as I finish this course. It's been kind of relaxing. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. You feel lost at sometimes, but when we don't have to worry about trading, it's kind of relaxing. Kind of relaxing. This will be my third, yeah. It's kind of fun. All right. Where did we break out to here on Euro Pound? Broke out and held the highs. Not really interested in any kind of TCT. Latch says full 2 weeks for you, Latch. Nice. Tell you what, you're gonna be a lot hungry when you get back. A lot hungrier. Kind of brings the excitement back. It can, especially during the summer, there are periods in time where it gets so dull and monotonous that you kind of you start losing kind of a passion for it. So sometimes it's good to get away. All right. Any other pairs you guys want to take a look at? Sheesh, how about that? One candle crossing the entire channel. Oh, we looked at Pound Canada. So remember, Pound Canada is the one we want to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on this current retracement. Ideally, we want to stay lower than these highs if we're looking for that descending triangle potential bearish break. So keep tracking that. But if not, we'll call it a day. I will get this recording up to you guys later. Once again, any questions or comments or anything else you guys want to look at before we get out of here? Again, 2 o'clock interest rate decision, 2:30 FOMC statement. That's the time you want to pay attention to. So just double check stops and double check maybe open orders that you may have in the market before that happens. And good luck in surviving it if there is some massive movement. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll have this recording up to you probably in a few hours. See ya.